interpretation na this Congress cannot anymore enact laws that will limit the ratio of ownership?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I believe that there is a need to provide Congress the ability to define the extent of the foreign investment that may enter these critical areas of our industry. Otherwise, the economy may be overwhelmed by foreign investment. The foreign investment should really be regulated. I do not believe that a free and open system for foreign investment is practiced by any country. Other countries have restrictions, only it's found in legislation. It's not found in their constitution, so that it's adjustable, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Justice. Thank you, other resource persons. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Floor Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that to recognize the gentleman from the 2nd District of Parañaque City, the Honorable Gustavo Tambunting.
The Honorable Gus Tambuding is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, distinguished colleagues, resource persons. I prepared 7 questions. The first would be somehow related to the Honorable Dago's question earlier. Can you please specify which public utility sectors will be mostly affected by this amendment, and please elaborate the reasons why these sectors are targeted? Yes, maybe our NEDA representative,
Yes, please
Yusek
proceed.
Rosemary, can answer this.
Madam Chair? Yeah, yes, actually, if I can also mention as well, that with respect to looking at the impact of FDI on growth and employment, we really need to look at multi-country studies. We cannot be simply confined to our country study, because then it will be a very constrained optimum. Now, with respect to your question on what are the sectors, then we really are looking at being able to attract more of the strategic FDI and more of the high-quality FDI. For instance, with respect to manufacturing, we only have the low value-added manufacturing here in the Philippines. We do not have any multinational company that does research here in the Philippines, and it's really because we do not have a pool of researchers, of scientists. So we need to have that massive pool of R&D, and we think that that is what the international education can bring us. Now, with respect to international advertising, the reason why we want this liberalized as well is so that we can benefit from what we call the smile curve, where you have high value added from the design stage of this of the manufacturing process or any production process, and then at the post-production stage, meaning advertising, meaning post-marketing studies. And this is also what international advertising can do to us, can benefit, because we have seen that advertising as an industry has also evolved over the years. Now it's gotten into more of digital advertising. And so, again, if we bring in the international advertisers, then this is also what international exposure to our creative sector can do to us, which right now number about 1.2 million who are working in the creative sector. So if you can provide them more of these opportunities, then that would be good as well. Now, for the modern utilities, that is also actually also paramount on our list. As we know, we need to bring down the cost of power. We also need to make it stable. and then reliable, and we also need high-speed telecoms, and these are actually the things that we would like to bring in, and we think that this is also what can bring in the other strategic FDI into the country. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair.
How about water? Water.
For water, I think right now, the position of the NEDA is we do have the issue of water rights in the Philippines, and that is still, something of a resource that I think if you allow for this, then it could lead to other issues.
So that's not a priority.
Not for us, not for us. But we do have other reform agenda with respect to the water sector.
How will the government
Other,
enhance its regulatory framework to oversee foreign entities in our public entities and to ensure compliance of our local laws and regulations?
Yeah, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
How will the government enhance, as stated by Justice Ascuna earlier, that we need to enhance our regulatory framework to oversee the entry of the foreigners in our public utilities? The question is, how do we plan to do it? Ensure that our local laws are complied with.
Madam Chair, actually, it's really not. It's actually already embedded in the Philippine Development Plan. In fact, this chamber has already passed the ease of doing business, efficient government service delivery, and ARTA has been reporting on its accomplishments, and we have been making, advances, progress with respect to the regulatory efficiency. For the part of the NEDA, at the start, we have actually advocated for the institutionalization of a regulatory impact assessment for existing regulations and especially new regulations that will be imposed. And then recently as well, we have also been advocating for the institutionalization of a competition impact assessment, just to make sure that the regulations are actually competition neutral. So if you have all these things, then that's really one way to improve the regulatory environment.
What impact will the amendment have on local employment? As stated by Ibon Foundation yesterday, his position is it will have no impact, as his data would show, with the previous foreign investments, since it was all profit-taking anyway. So hindi naman daw talaga nagdadagdag yan sa pagbibigay ng trabaho sa ating mga kababayan. Yun ang posisyon niya kahapon. Do you agree? And what steps will we take to safeguard the rights of Filipino workers?
Madam Chair, with respect to the second question, I think
Yes.
we already have our laws that protect the rights of the workers. And in fact, I would even say that very selective yung naging statistics now, because if you look at the statistics, for instance, in Calabar Zone, where we have the eco zones, where
Correct.
we have many of the FDIs, this is really where most of the employment is. And of course, it's also found in the sectors that we have opened up. So let's say in manufacturing. But the problem with our manufacturing is, again, it has been limited to the low value-added manufacturing. And we think that what we need to do is really to bring in more of the high-value FDI, but that would require having a substantial pool of scientists, R&D specialists.
What are the projected long-term economic implications of this amendment to the national economy, including GDP growth, foreign exchange earnings, and fiscal balance?
Yes, thank you. We can only surmise, the situation that what has happened, for instance, in Malaysia, in Singapore especially. For instance, I was just looking at the education sector in Malaysia. They already have many universities that have actually set up campuses in Malaysia. And so you have Swinburne University, you have the Reading University of Reading, which is actually a highly rated business school. You have Monash University. They actually are able to attract about 170,000 foreign students. In comparison, the Philippines, we only host about 36,000 as of 2022, 36,000 students. If for this sector alone, if we can triple it, let's say make it to 100,000, then our projections show that this will actually add 0.2 percentage points to our GDP growth. And of course, that's not yet considering the externality effects of having these top-rated, reputable schools in the country. You can just imagine the international collaboration, the R&D, the innovation ecosystem that this will actually redound to. So the next thing that we will have to do is what if all this are opened up? Then we will get back to you with the numbers. But for sure, it will be. We're hoping that at the very least we'll be accelerating actually to the level of let's say Malaysia. What is Malaysia now? Thank you.
How will this amendment ensure that consumer interests are prioritized, particularly in terms of pricing, quality of service, and dispute resolution in foreign-operated utilities?
Sure. With respect to the pricing and the quality of service, actually with more FDI, you bring in also more competition.
Correct.
And if there's more competition, there will be greater innovation, and that is actually, it will actually be to the interest of the consumer as well. Now, with respect to, in the area of utilities, I think we have not yet really, forgotten our regulatory agencies. They're still there. It's just that what we want is for them to always make sure that there's regulatory efficiency, the regulations are there for a reason, and that it doesn't impose undue burden on their constituency.
Which leads to my next question. Could the entry of foreign players potentially lead to monopolistic practices in our public utility sector? And what regulatory measures are proposed to encourage healthy competition?
Okay, Madam Chair. Actually, with greater innovation, the character of these public utilities can really evolve. So let's just take the example of, a concrete example would be the telecoms industry. It used to be a natural monopoly, but with innovation, then we found out that it doesn't have to be a natural monopoly, and therefore we now have many players, and it actually led to better services and even affordable services at that. It's still not the best. We still need to bring in more competition there, because I think that's still the way to go. So that's one, greater innovation, and that will also come with, if you bring in the competition. But of course, there's also there's still the function of the regulatory authority, making sure that the consumer welfare is, that is really foremost in the interest of the regulator.
Last but not least, alam po ninyo, meron po kami mga batas, Tatak Pinoy, at binibigyan po natin ng kahalagaan ang mga ating mga produkto, ang ating kultura, ang pagpapreserve po nito. With these amendments, what steps will be taken to ensure that foreign-owned utilities respect and integrate our local culture and our social norms in their operations?
Yes, thank you. Actually, with respect to Tatak Pinoy, the way that we're looking at this is really increasing the competitiveness of Filipino-made products. And we think that this can be done if you really have a very, very dynamic innovation ecosystem. And again, goes back to being able to, co-create, being able to co-collaborate with other innovation actors. And so I think if Philippine-made products can be very innovative, competitive, again, like I said, you bring in also the very good creative sectors to make it, to increase its commercial appeal, then we don't even need to worry about our products, the culture, which of course will be embedded in these products, and that it will be forgotten. So I think we still need to have a niche in order to have, in order to be very competitive. And I think in the case of the Philippines, the niche is really being able to hone our unique tradition, our unique culture.
Thank you very much, Yusek Rosemary. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that we recognize the gentleman from the 3rd District of Camarines Sur, the Honorable Gabriel Bordado, for his manifestation.
Congressman Bordado is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, after listening intently to the comments of our resource persons, particularly the erudite pronouncements made by former Chief Justice Reynato Serrano Puno, I came up with this manifestation. Mr. Chairman, admittedly, it is human nature to have the penchant to improve things which at times cost us more than the end we wish to attain. The same can be said on the proposed amendments to the economic provisions of the Constitution. Mr. Chairman, as pointed out by Speaker Martin Romualdez, the rationale behind the amendments can be summarized into 3 points: to liberalize industries, promote efficient service delivery, and foster competition. Second, to ensure that Filipino children receive the best training so as to become globally competitive. And third, to attract foreign direct investment in the advertising industry. Mr. Chairman, if those are the ends to be met by the proposed changes, the crucial question becomes, are these ends not achievable investment with the current in the advertising economic constitutional provisions? Mr. Chairman, if those are it the is ends, my firm belief that the answer is yes. These objectives can be attained without the arduous process of amending the Constitution. There are already mechanisms in place to arrive at the same result. On the other hand, Filipino children can still be given access to the best schools while allowing Filipinos to retain control and administration of educational institutions. It is not foreign ownership of these institutions that translate to best training and global competitiveness. Local schools can be adequately equipped and funded. Local and foreign grants and scholarships can be made accessible to Filipino children. Both can be achieved without the proposed amendments. In other words, Mr. Chairman, the end game of these amendments is within our reach with the current system. There is nothing wrong, outdated, or inadequate about the current economic provisions of the Constitution. The key is to implement, strengthen, and mainstream the existing mechanisms in place. Amending the Constitution, Mr. Chairman, requires time, effort, and resources. Time, effort, and resources that could be diverted into more pressing issues like educational budget cuts, human rights violations, and agrarian reform, to name a few, that require genuine governmental attention and action. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Floor Leader.
Mr. Chair, may I request that we recognize the Honorable France Castro of ACT Teachers for her interpellation.
Representative France Castro, you have the floor.
First of all, Mr. Chair, would like to have a clarification. So those a resource person that we have invited that are not present here because of very limited time of invitation. Kasi Mr. Chair, kahapon lang na-invite. In fact, nung Friday pa ako nagsulat na ito yung imbitahan. Unfortunately, si Mr. Sunny Africa lang yung dumating. So, is there any chance ulit na mapadalo po sila? Kasi may mga questions po ako sa kanila. So, yun po yung, yung clarification ko po, Mr. Chair. And even former Chief Justice Puno, Mr. Chair.
Yes, the Chair directs the Secretariat to send again the invitation to the guest that Representative France Castro would like to invite here.
So may we have the answer, Mr. Chair, para alam din po ng ng ating mga kasama kung ano yung mga, like for example, kung may chance pa ba na ma-invite ang representative ng CBCP, later on siguro yung doon sa yung dean din po ng Adamson, yung mga binanggit ko po na resource person.
A while ago, Mr. Chairman, we read for the records those who we have invited as resource speakers to attend the committee as a committee of the whole meeting. May I just inquire to whom are you referring to so I can find out if ano pangalan? May I ask for 1 minute suspension?
Hearing is suspended.
Whom are you referring to so I can find out if ano pangalan? May I ask for 1 minute suspension?
Hearing is suspended.